Thank you so much, and hello, everybody, again. Thank you for your time this morning. Today we're going to have lots of fun. Please write in questions in chat because leadership is so important in our organizations today. Create Within is about authentic and mindful leadership, and it's a new way to work. And if you think about it, what are your biggest challenges at work? Is it leadership or lack of leadership in an organization? Perhaps it's engagement or stress in the workplace. Today we're going to look at how leadership is a foundation of our best organizations. It's a link between knowing your story and your own leadership style, how authentic and mindful leadership is connected, and the importance of focus in our success. So is everybody ready to get started? Okay, here we go. And so I hope you have patience with me. Thank you. So does this slide look familiar? I joke around and I always say I'm the girl on the right-hand side with the head on the table. Does anybody feel that way? Leadership today is very difficult. We live and work in an environment of always on, pressure and stress. There's way too many distractions and too much information. Now, here's some interesting facts. Did you know that 204 million emails will go back and forth in a given minute? And up until 1900, all the world's knowledge would double every century. Guess what? Today, that same amount of knowledge doubles every 13 months. Anybody ever save an article? They find a great article in an online website. They put it away. They put it in a folder, and guess what? They've forgotten about it. A couple of days later, they find the folder, and there are a couple hundred links to articles you never read. There's way too much information for us for our capacity. Engagement today is at an all-time low, we know, of 30%. In fact, globally, engagement's at a low of 13%. Now, we know that engagement is directly related to our bottom line profits in our organizations. So our leaders are wondering, what can they do to make their employees more productive, happier, and performance improves? Think about it. And you can write this down on a piece of paper or put it in chat. When you think of a leader that you admire, what comes to mind? What qualities do they possess? Let's just take a second, just scribble some words down, what you think a leader is in your eyes. It'll help some of you because I know this is probably what a lot of you are thinking. Our best leaders, when you think, regardless of the position they have, are compassionate, they're understanding, they communicate, they collaborate with you, they're caring. Are those words that seem to connect? And I bet they are. But rarely do you ever hear anyone says, oh, my leader made a budget. Because that's not really what leaders are hired for. Leaders are hired to get results, and they're expected to get and make budgets. But leadership is way beyond that. It's what you create within. It's how you connect with others, how you build relationships, how you inspire trust and influence others. Any questions? Please feel free to write them in the chat. Leaders that create within are usually defined by their story. So what are their characteristic traits that make them unique, that others want to follow? Our best leaders today have values and purpose. They're very self-aware. They support and influence members on their team. Obviously, we know they're smart. They got hired. But they also have flexibility and know what a work-life balance is. Here's an interesting study. Accenture did a global study of the top qualities of our best leaders. Guess what? What was the number one thing that popped up? It was self-awareness. When leaders are self-aware, they know their strengths, their weaknesses, they have values and purpose, and they influence others. I want you to think about your story, and if you have a paper and pen, write it down. How does your story define you as a leader? And with myself, I connect with two words. It's courage and curiosity. I worked for years in corporate America, Cablevision, CBS Television, but I had the courage to lead a steady job and start my own business. I also had curiosity to know that there were other things that I could do as a leader and use my talents. And people and I often think I'm crazy for leaving, but it's been a great adventure. So now think about what your story is and how your self-awareness can help you to find your leadership style. Many different leadership styles, and the key to leadership is about being flexible and nimble in your style. Leaders often switch between different styles in a given week depending on the situation that is in front of them. So everybody heard of Dan Goleman. Dan Goleman is the father of emotional intelligence, and he refers to 4 styles. Visionary is a type of leader that says, "Come with me. I want you to be a part of my team and what I'm doing." Now, an affiliative leader is more about creating a team atmosphere. He knows that people come first, and they're very empathetic, which means he understands and senses what his team is going through. A democratic leader reaches out across the table and says, "What do you think?" It's about coaching, because a true leader knows that he doesn't have all the answers. And coaching is a style that can support and teach you as a leader. We know this style works, but leaders don't often hire coaches or use coaching or take coaching in because it takes time. But styles that are not used and should only be used when necessary is command and control. Command and control is used to turn a situation around. And pace setting, or what we call micromanaging, is probably one that should never be used. But we know we all come across micromanagers. But guess what? If you have, you know it is a style that is not motivating, and it often leads employees to leaving the organization. I'm going to look at some of our best leaders. And if anyone's a fan of Starbucks, which I am, you know Howard Schultz is one of our best leaders. Howard Schultz is actually stepping down as CEO in April of this year, but he has a great backup. Howard Schultz is your perfect example of a leader that creates within. He used his story to shape him as a leader. Howard was born into a very poor family, and as a young boy, his dad was in a car accident that left him unable to work, and he was very bitter. His father hated his job, never had money for his medical bills. But Howard's mother was his motivator. She always told Howard that he could do whatever he wanted. He could live his dreams. So what's interesting here, what keeps Howard as an effective leader is he's led by the fear of failure, similar to his dad's experience, but motivated by what his father missed in his employment, all the benefits. So what Howard has done at Starbucks is he's using programs that use leftover food from stores to give to the hungry. He also offers great health benefits, something that he's never had, to even part-timers. He raised the minimum wage for his employees. Other things that Howard will do as a leader, he visits 24 stores a week. He calls employees at 5:30 in the morning, not to check in on them, but because he knows they're there. Howard's style is about connection and building relationships with his employees. And we all know that when there is a relationship in an organization, performance and productivity improve.